Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. Can I replace my giant microphone that I've been using for years now with this teeny tiny little on-camera microphone from Sony? If so, I will be a very happy guy. This is the Rode VideoMic NTG. I love this microphone. I've been using it for a long time. I really like how this microphone sounds, but I mean, size-wise, like, it would be much better if this is all I had to put in my bag, if this was all that was on top of my camera. And there's a few other features of why this microphone is so special. But if this microphone, even if this microphone sounded like 80% as good as this microphone, I still think it would make sense for me to switch, but I have not heard these two microphones side by side. So today we are going to hear them side by side, hear what they actually sound like. Does the ECM-M1 from Sony, terrible name by the way, does the ECM-M1 sound as good as the Rode VideoMic NTG? Because if it does, like, this might be like the perfect vlogger creator microphone. Before we go out and actually test them side by side, let me just tell you like the features of why, like probably like the 4 or 5 reasons why I want to switch from this to this. With the first one being the most obvious is the size. Like the size, I mean this, hang on, look at the Rode VideoMic NTG on my camera. Like that is a huge microphone. That is a honker of a mic. If you're trying to like look professional on a gig, like this might be the way to go, because definitely a client would look at this and be like, wow, it's an impressive microphone you have there. But if you're trying to walk around and be more conspicuous with your vlogging, having a giant microphone doesn't help. Also, like you gotta put this in your bag somewhere. So camera and this giant thing, or this teeny tiny little thing. Look at that little guy. Look how little it is on top of the camera. That's adorable. And even weight-wise, this ECM-M1, I'm just gonna call it the Sony mic. The Sony mic is 68 grams with the dead cat attached, and this guy is 190 grams. So 190 grams on top of your camera, or 68. This makes me think of that little gun that Will Smith had in Men in Black. Remember he gave him like the little firecracker? What was that thing called?
Noisy crickets. Hey, okay, no, come on, man.
It's a big reason to want to switch. But the second big reason is that the NTG has an internal battery. So this thing does have 30 hours of runtime, which is really good. But let's say that you are out and about and you haven't charged your battery on your microphone, it's dead. You now don't have a microphone. Like you have to charge up your microphone before you can use it again. And this little guy, no batteries, because it plugs into the Sony multi-face shoe, it gets power from the camera. So as long as you have a battery in your camera, which obviously you do, your microphone is good to go. The other thing that this obviously lacks is a cable. See, the Rode VideoMic Pro, any microphone that I've ever used on here has a cable, plugs into the 3.5mm jack on the side of the camera, and once again, through the multi-shoe interface, ECM-M1, no cable. It's communicating digitally through that multi-shoe interface, and it's getting power through that interface. So no batteries and no cables. It's significantly smaller than that guy. You see why I want to switch. Now this guy does have some nifty little features in there, but this mic, it has quite a bit of those features as well. Like check out, hang on, see on the, well, I'll pull this off here. See on this side here, we have filter and then ATT. So the filter, we have a noise cut filter and a low cut filter. Now both of these things can totally be done in post. Like you don't have to do this in the microphone, but it is nice to just be able to like, look, noise cut filter built into your audio recording. Again, it's baked in. Should you do that in post? Probably. Is it more convenient to do it on your microphone? Absolutely. But the back of the microphone, like this is where this microphone gets kind of exciting. See that dial right there? That dial lets you hone in the polar pattern of this microphone. See, it's actually 4 capsules on top of the microphone, which is kind of an interesting setup. Like this guy, you know, it's like that long setup with the grates on the sides. And then the older Sony mics was like, it looked like a shotgun, but all the mic capsules were in line on top of the microphone. Can't be entirely sure exactly how this works, but Here's what I think is going on here. So there's 4 microphones on here that are filming or recording omnidirectional, which means that it's picking up everything. You can set the microphone to omnidirectional by this little full bubble right here. That full bubble right there, that is omnidirectional, which means again, like it's just gonna film in all directions, all audio that it can hear everywhere, it's gonna pick up and put into the audio recording. And someone correct me if I'm wrong here, but essentially what these different like pieces of the pie where I can say like, I just want the audio that's like right in front of the camera and I don't wanna hear anything else. Or you can say like, I want a little wider, or I want very wide, like in front of the camera, everything that's this wide, you can choose this wide or this wide. Like you have options for where you're picking up that audio from. And we also have a stereo mode on there, and we have one where the audio in front of the camera gets recorded to the left channel and the audio behind the camera gets recorded to the right channel. And that way in post, you can actually kind of adjust those. If the person in front wasn't talking loud enough, you could raise it up. If the person in the back was too loud or too quiet, you could adjust those separately. So obviously a lot of great features on this microphone. How does it sound? Like in real world usage, these 2 microphones next to each other, how do they sound? Is it comparable? Because if it is, I am 100% switching to the ECM-M1 over the Rode VideoMic NTG. That name, they gotta work on that. Good thing today is an audio comparison and not a video comparison, because this light is not good. But here is a direct comparison between the Sony ECM-M1 versus the Rode VideoMic NTG. I have the Rode VideoMic NTG set up on my A7 IV and the ECM-M1 on my A7S III. I'm almost positive that the preamps inside these 2 cameras are almost exactly the same, so we shouldn't have any differences on the camera front, being that they are 2 different cameras. These mics should perform the same whether they were on either of these 2 cameras. And to do this comparison, let me tell you guys about the sponsor of today's video, my good friends over at Squarespace. And if you haven't heard of Squarespace by now, they are the all-in-one website building platform for you to launch your business or side project, or take your existing business and just upgrade your website. And I have used Squarespace for the last 10 years for my photography business. And like I've said in past videos, it's because at the time I was really focused on my photography and I didn't know much about building a website. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is super intimidating. Then I found Squarespace and realized in one place I could get my domain, I could get my professional email address, I could use one of the professional templates to pretty much just swap in my photos, swap in my information, pop my logo on there, and I just kind of already had a sweet website just like that. And then super simply over time, I was able to really go in and customize things, more fine tune it to my business and how my business operated. And then I stayed with Squarespace for 10 years because they took care of all that back end stuff, all the website maintenance stuff. They take care of all that so I can focus on being a photographer. And for the last 10 years, I have told everyone that I know, if you are starting a business or a side project, do it with Squarespace. My wife has a band. We launched her website on Squarespace. We had a photo booth business for a while. That was on Squarespace. We have neighbors that are physical therapists. We launched their website on Squarespace. I even just met a guy we were in Hawaii like 2 weeks ago. He's a scuba dive instructor in Maui and he needed a website. And I told him, I was like, Glenn, you've got to use Squarespace. I promise you, it's the way to go. Glenn, if you're watching this, I hope that you went to squarespace.com, used code David Manning to save 10%, and hopefully you have started your scuba diving website for Maui. It's called Neptune Diving, by the way. Hopefully it's up online somewhere. If you guys search for Neptune Diving, give Glenn a high five for me. And thank you Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. All right, what do those sound like between each other? But I'll go inside in a minute and I'll listen to that. Hey, I want you to hear some of these little modes that this thing can do. So again, right now, this is like your highly directional mode. This is arm's reach from the camera on a 16mm lens. This is like if I was vlogging. If I was out vlogging, this is how close I would be to the camera. And if I walk around the microphone off to the side here, you're gonna see that all of a sudden over here, you can't hear me too well. And if I'm behind the microphone, you also cannot hear me too well. Come all the way back around to this side, and when I pop back out on this side, suddenly you can hear me really well again. Now, again, I think that this is digitally doing that. I think that it's picking up omnidirectionally, and then because of how those capsules are located, it can tell what's in front of it, what's behind it, and what's to the sides. And then digitally, it's saying I only am gonna transmit to the camera what I heard from in front of it. And because it's listening to all the other audio, it knows what to cancel out. Let me switch one of the modes. Let's go to the rear facing mode. Okay, here is the rear facing mode. In theory, you can't hear me very well at all right now. But if I go behind the camera, here I'm on the side of the camera right here. And by the time I'm behind the camera, let's say I'm holding the camera, I'm showing somebody something, or I'm talking about something, pointing the camera at something, I'm behind the camera. This is the only audio that I want picked up. How does it sound? I'm gonna come off to the side over here. Hopefully, again, it's kind of canceling out this audio. Again, in front of the camera, you shouldn't hear me very well. And then this right here, again, is the omnidirectional. And in my mind, again, it's always recording omnidirectional and then just deciding which part to cancel out based on where I have that knob turned. But in theory, right now, I should be able to walk anywhere around the camera. And as I keep talking, my voice shouldn't change much at all. Right now, I'm totally behind the camera. How well can you hear me when I'm completely behind the camera? Now I'm off to the side of the camera and coming all the way back around. That audio should stay almost consistent as I circle around the entire camera. So a microphone where you're not choosing the polar pattern based on what kind of microphone you've purchased, you're choosing the polar pattern digitally in the microphone. It would be cool if you could just do that in post. Can you hear that airplane right now? In omnidirectional mode, you probably can hear that airplane. Hang on. And now I just switched it back to like the vlogger, like the very tight forward mode. Can you hear the airplane as well now? Okay, let's go inside. I'm gonna upload all this. I wanna hear it real quick and then we'll wrap up this video. And I'll decide if it's time to switch from the Rode VideoMic NTG to this little teeny tiny, I hope this mic sounds good, because that would be great. This microphone just feels huge after playing around with that one. Okay, a few days later, I've been testing this mic in a bunch of different situations because after that little test between these two, it sounds like this mic is as good as the NTG, if not a little better. Now there's a caveat in there that I'll get to in a minute here. When comparing just the audio like straight out of camera, I think that the ECM-M1, I think it actually even sounds a little better. And I think it's because it's doing more onboard digital processing. And I guess that's like the caveat. Like the caveat is this microphone, I'm almost positive, again, I don't know if this is for sure true, but because these four mics are set up how they are, I'm almost positive this thing is always recording omnidirectional and then digitally canceling out the audio. Like even kind of when you hear me like walk around the camera and talk and it cancels me out, like even how I sound when I'm being canceled out, it sounds a little digital. Like it's good, but I think in a scenario, if you're maybe shooting for like a client or you're shooting like more high-end work, I still think something like this is gonna be the best bet for you. Like something that's designed in a way that is isolating audio and not something that's digitally isolating audio, but for pretty much everything I film on this channel, for everything I film in my life, like just filming my kids, filming my family, I think this is gonna be like my main microphone. I'll no longer need to worry about batteries. I'll no longer need to worry about a cable. And this thing, I just lock it into the multi-interface shoe and I'm ready to go. A microphone where I can digitally change the polar pattern pickup on the microphone. That is so damn clever. Yeah, ECM-M1, that will be my new vlog mic. I ordered a new camera too. If you guys have seen this channel and other videos on this channel, my hint to you is that I have not reviewed the camera that I just ordered. Like I'm buying with my own money. I ordered a camera. It has not been reviewed on this. If you think you know what I ordered, try to guess in the comments below. But also I want to hear your thoughts on the ECM-M1, the teeny tiny mic from Sony that is now replacing my I've loved this thing. To be fair to Rode, like this oh look, I switched back to the NTG as like my main microphone. Like this microphone in here now I'm back to the NTG as this mic. So this was on camera and then I had this mic and now I'll have this on camera. And this will still be my mic that's in this shot here. Still good mics from Rode, but yeah, I mean, that's clever. When the camera maker starts making their own mics, like, you know, the advantages are gonna outweigh any sorts of disadvantages. Like how little that guy is. Comments, questions, throw them down below. This will be the mic that you guys hear from now on. If I'm not in this setup is the NTG, and if I'm out and about somewhere, you will hear the ECM-M1. I'm really excited. I'm excited for all the convenience factors that this mic will bring to my life. Mainly, in my mind, it's so little. Like it can feel like I could put this in there in the same space as my camera. Like, it's not gonna even take up, look how much space, it's so little. All right, I will see you guys soon.